I want to talk about the rise of artificial intelligence and the impact that this is having on executive recruitment processes. I am literally gobsmacked by how it's going to change the employment landscape, and it's happening before our eyes. It's happening very rapidly. And to be honest, I don't know if everyone's truly got a complete handle on the issues and the potential ramifications and the potential risks. Let me talk about just what we're noticing from an executive career recruitment process. We are seeing increasingly now corporations are engaging with artificial intelligence to screen candidates, to determine whether that candidate is granted an interview, and we're seeing artificial intelligence coming into those initial first rounds of interviews. We had a very significant recruitment process undertaken with a major international mining company. The candidate did not see a human being for 4 steps. So the resume was screened by artificial intelligence, which means they're looking at keywords, they're looking at the information, and they're really literally matching a resume up to a job description and saying, well, look, it's a 95% match. You go to the next step. The next 2 steps of the recruitment process involved the candidate logging in to undertake psychometric testing and to do an online interview that had no human involved. So you were given questions that you had to answer, and you had to video yourself and submit your responses. And so again, artificial intelligence was being used to screen the words that were being said and to screen the content to assess the individual. Now, that raises a few alarm bells for me because, does the artificial intelligence systems have some bias inbuilt into them? What are they actually looking for? Some of those softer skills are very hard to pull off a resume or a piece of paper and to determine whether someone is a good business leader. And so if the right language is not being used in the video content, or the right phrases that you are looking for as an employer don't crop up, are we going to overlook really good talent? So we are seeing a massive increase on this, and employers and employees need to be aware of the systems that are being used and how they are going to impact the whole recruitment process from beginning to end. You literally now would not submit a resume and a cover letter unless you've used artificial intelligence to match it up with the job description and make sure the keywords that they're looking for are in that application. And it's a massive mistake if you're sitting on the sidelines here and you don't know how to use AI tools. If you're even a board director and you don't even know how AI works, you're massively exposed, I think, going forward. And so you've really got to force yourself to be using these tools every day yourself and seeing how they operate and seeing what the positives are, what the negatives are, what the limitations are. And certainly if you're a job seeker, you must be embracing this, because the old methods of just writing a resume and submitting it are just not going to cut it. You're just not even going to get close, remotely close to being brought in for an interview. And I think if you are in some of these larger companies, recruitment processes that are engaging, the big corporations are definitely using AI for the initial screening process. And so as a candidate preparing for that process, you're really going to have to think about how you present. If you're doing a video, for example, and there's no human being per se on the other end of the line that you can try and influence with your communication skills, you really are coming back to bare basics of you're dealing with the robots and how you're going to sort of tackle that to get through the initial processes. And it's going to mean trying to navigate through or maybe circumvent these artificial intelligence processes so you can try and get to key decision makers. But that's a story for another day. But my key message is it's here to stay. It's evolving so rapidly that it's going to turn, I believe, the recruitment industry on its head. and you have to be on the front foot. You need to understand what's happening, and you're going to have to embrace it to some degree. And I think at both ends of the spectrum, whether you're a candidate applying for roles, you need to be right across this and engaging artificial intelligence tools to ensure you have the right applications and you can get in the door for conversation. And from an employer perspective, you have to be very mindful of how you're using these tools, and that in fact you're not missing out on fabulous talent because there's a bias in the system, or there's some sort of a chink without having the human element involved. So challenges on all sides, opportunities potentially on all sides. It's here to stay. I can't see it going away anytime soon. I just see it radically changing the way we operate in business.